I want to do this story quite quickly. There's no audio video to go with it. It's just a item on the One News website. Nicola Willis asks public servants for their best, boldest ideas. To me, this does feel a little bit like, could you please build those gallows that we're going to use on you? You know, it's like, you know, like if someone someone gets moved on from a job, like that they don't want to get moved on from, but then the place that's moved them on says, can you train up the next person to take over from you? It's like, nah, kind of, that feels a bit weird. So let's have a look what Nikki Noboats is on about. Finance Minister Nicola Willis has implored public servants to bring bold new ideas to the table while acknowledging the government was, quote, asking a lot, end quote, of them at an unsettling, quote unquote, time. She also used her address to the Institute of Public Administration. Now, I don't know about you, Chewy, but the Institute of Public Administration would sound a bit like a backroom job to me, not a frontline job. But you know what I mean? Public administration doesn't sound like a frontline job to me. Just thinking though. So she's speaking there, and she used her address to foreshadow a radical shakeup of how government contracts social services. So what she's saying is, New Zealand, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just let that pause there for a second. Willis's speech comes as the coalition is driving a major cost-cutting exercise across the public service, axing thousands of jobs and initiatives. Speaking at Parliament's banquet hall, hope you guys had $3 lunches, on Thursday morning, Willis began by thanking the, quote, wise and experienced, end quote, public servants for assisting the government during tough economic circumstances, noting their, quote, thoughtfulness, tenacity. Got it. I got there in the end. Tenacity and earnestness. That's nice, isn't it? And then she fired them all. I thought I had more from that setup. This is the headline for this next part. Savings is an ongoing state of mind. She reiterated the coalition's consistent position that the public service savings drive would continue, describing fiscal discipline as good practice. It's not a one-off, one budget affair. It's an ongoing state of mind. She called on those attending to bring their, quote, best and boldest ideas, end quote, for tackling the country's most entrenched challenges, saying the government was open to change. In response to an audience question, Willis said too many public servants were cautious in their advice to the ministers, as if trying to protect the politicians from themselves. Now, I've got another 3 lines to read, but remember, this is this government who doesn't listen to public servants, who doesn't take expert advice, who ignores it, who has a prime minister who actually said, you know that stuff, how you guys write all that stuff up, we're not even going to read that. And now she's saying to some of these same people, you need to be bolder. Bring your ideas. Be bolder. Push those bold ideas upstairs, and if you are a manager or leader, just not a backroom person, seek out those people in your organization who think differently, who are imaginative, who say annoying things in meetings because they don't get how we've always done it. Now, Chewy, I would actually say in general, that sounds like quite a nice workspace. You know, it's like, come on, we want, it's a green light thinking, but I don't see that in practice as to how they have been treating public servants for their first and the last 12 months. Yes, sir.
Does Nikki think that after a wave of massive job cuts, that the annoying people who shake the boat, who ask those questions of like, why do we do it this way when we could do it another way? Does she think after a massive wave of layoffs that those annoying people are still there?
Yeah, that's the point, isn't
it? Is that how it works? Or is this something that could have been asked before the layoffs to find your innovative thinkers? Because the people that are the innovative thinkers, that are rattling the cages of the way that things are always done, they're the ones that fucking got out and got hired as consultants.
Yep. And are now getting paid twice as much to do the job they used to do, which they've been made redundant from. and got a redundancy. Remember that they got a redundancy, and now they're being paid twice as much to do the same job because they can't. The departments can't function without those roles being filled.
I cannot understand what it would be like to be sitting there hearing this from someone that has been part of a party, is part of a coalition that has spent the last 3 years plus talking about bureaucrats, not public servants, bureaucrats, spending all of the tax dollars. She rips through them with a scythe and then turns around going, oh, thank you guys. Yeah. Have you guys got any ideas of how we can run things? Because
that's the point I guess I'm making. It's like it's almost like they've made this bed for themselves, and now they realize they've stripped all the ideas away, and they still haven't got what they've wanted, which is more cuts and to save more money. And they're saying to public service, just bring all your big ideas forward. Yeah, we'll use that one. And because of your idea, you're actually going to be made redundant as well. So thanks for that. It's like, honestly, in the public service, who would help these guys? The public service who have seen their colleagues go, who are now working hard, who would help them? I mean, other than we have seen a few CEs, some chief executives, I won't mention anyone by name, but sort of doing the bootlicking model. But if you're there, I mean, you know what? If you're in a government agency right now, you're keeping your fucking head down. You're not putting it up above the parapet. Yeah, you're keeping your head
it's not sticking
down.
Out time. Not at all.
And that's what she's asking. And she's asking it because in my opinion, the environment they have created in those agencies, I know someone who works for, might be MSD, and the environment that they've created in those departments is like, I'm just going to keep my head down. I'm not going to say anything. I'm wallpaper. You don't see me, and I'm going to keep my job. And she's going, everyone jump up and down and wave your hands so we can see you really. Oh, didn't know you still had a job. Yeah, we can get rid of that one. You know, it's like, anyway, let me just I've got a couple more paragraphs and then you can go again. So this is her speaking. She says, and they tell me about the time they waste, this is public servants, producing reports that don't seem to inform future conversations and contracting decisions, and teams of people they have to employ to produce those reports that aren't read. They're not read because your fucking prime minister, your leader said we're not going to read them. This was an unnecessary drain on those providers, time and resources, Willis said. I do not blame the public service for this. This is what successive governments have baked in as a way of doing business. It's not business. What I am asking of you is to join with me on the dark side. Come to the dark side. Join with me in radically changing it. Last bit. We know we're asking a lot is the heading of this paragraph. Willis concluded her speech with a challenge for those in attendance. We know change can be unsettling, and we know we are asking a lot of you and your colleagues in the public service. Well, you're asking a lot because you're now all having to do twice as much work. So yeah, because half of their colleagues have disappeared. At the same time, that we're making savings across the public sector, we're not just asking you to deliver business as usual. We're challenging you to think and operate differently. For me, wrestling with that reality conjures up a phrase attributed to that great New Zealand pioneer, Ernest Rutherford. We haven't got the money, so we'll have to think. Sorry, I'm back in my throat there.
Oh, Jesus.
I am confident in your ability to rise to the challenge. Nikki No Boats wants all of these public servants to help fill the gaps that they've created when they've created an environment of public servants just wanting to keep their head down and not be noticed. That's what's happening, Joey.
I love that she's looking for new ideas when she's part of a party that famously hasn't had a new idea since 1993.
And they look back.
They look back every election. It's let's look in the shit ideas cupboard, see what we couldn't get across the line last time. Yeah, it's laughable. It's offensive. If I was in, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah,
I'd be so pissed. Oh, yeah. What can you say? It's just more.